Welcome to Raw Painting. In this video series, we're just going to be painting miniatures. You're going to get a bird's eye view of me just painting miniatures. It's raw, uncut. We're going to post it as it's recorded, so there's never any telling what's going to be said. If you like watching miniatures being painted, if you've got tips, tricks you want to pick up, if you want to add any content in the comments below, I'll be happy to reply to them. And let's just jump in and paint some miniatures. And welcome back to more raw painting, where we're working on a Reaper Frost Giant. In our last video, we worked on the studs on the belt as well as the bottom of the skirt. Coming along really nicely. However, we're doing a new format, so we're trying some shorter videos. While I've got those paints prepped and ready to go, we'll put him next to our Reaper Sophie. And because those colors on the studs, we wanted to match what we're doing with the axe in his hand, we're going to jump right to that next. Now, if you caught the last video, I hope you were able to subscribe. If this is your first raw video, I hope that you will subscribe. We are happy to have you here and looking forward to having you give us your thoughts on the formats that we're doing, as well as the minis that we're painting. And hoping that you give us your comments, thoughts, opinions. If you're new here, like I said, I hope you subscribe. We have some exciting stuff that we're working on. We're new and just growing our channel. So we hope that you subscribe. Once we get to 25 subscribers, we are going to give away one of our Reaper one of our Green Oaks t-shirts. And we'll probably, near the goal, once we get up in subscribers, we'll post a few videos of the shirt that you would be receiving. All subscribers are going to be entered to win. There's no purchase necessary. It's just a free giveaway as a thank you. Boy, I hope you can see that paint. We're having some challenges here. This is leaving a lot of brush lines, if you can see those in there. So I've just added some diluted water. My fear is that we did not allow the paint to dilute enough. So this is the Giant's axe that we're working on. We laid down a very dark blue. It's a liner, very thin. We gave it 2 coats. Just to get good coverage. That is our darkest shadow area. Now, normally, when I'm doing shadows, I'm going to leave about a quarter of the item with that darkest color still exposed. This one I'm doing a little different. As we progress and work up, I'll show you why. Boy, I've got just a little bit of grain in there. I'm not happy with that. I like my paints to be nice and smooth so that I get good, thin, even coverage. Now I did just clean my brushes, so that may be part of the issue that I'm facing. Of course, this is a natural bristle brush. I prefer the natural bristle just because they have more give in them than synthetics. Now this miniature here, while it's a larger mini compared to most of what you'll see in a standard 28mm size, because it's a giant, it's larger in scale. One of the things that means is that the details are a lot clearer and more intricate because the sculptors have more surface space to work with. They sculpt in some fantastic details. You can see that here on the axe head. Just a wealth of detail. Now this, as we're starting to work on gradually highlighting, like I said, normally there's more of that shadow coat that stands out, but because of the details carved into this, on the blade surface, I am not leaving that same general amount of shadow. However, I will go in and add a wash of that shadow after a bit. But this allows me to start pulling out those details so I can see them visually as I'm painting. And then those darkest shadows will be primarily focused in the recesses of the axe head. And you'll see I'm doing that on both sides. Now, this side here would generally not be getting equal highlights. And that is because this side will be facing away from our imaginary light source, which is going to be over the frost giant's head. So it would not be getting as much light as the other side. However, you still need to do highlighting and shading. Oh, sorry, I bumped our camera stand. I'm trying a new process of a camera stand. So, of course, we're a newer channel. We're still growing. We're still developing. We don't have all the YouTube hacks figured out yet. We're going to continue to improve. Our goal is for you to enjoy the content. And we guarantee the quality is going to continue to improve as we grow. I think you'll be very satisfied with where we end up. But it's going to take a little bit of time, a little bit of patience on your end, which I appreciate. Hope you had a fantastic day today. Hope that you're being able to stay safe with your friends and family. Holidays are just around the corner. We hope that you have fantastic holidays. If you're looking for gift ideas, it's getting super tight for things like commissions. However, on our website, which you can find, I'll try to remember to put a link in the description, but we also have it listed on our About Us. We sell game aids. We sell some pre-painted miniatures
We sell some dice sets with dice boxes that are all handcrafted here in Houston, Texas. And hope you take a look at our wares. Of course, the sales that we make on any of our goods go into helping us develop more products, as well as continue to expand things like equipment for better microphones and lighting and things like that. So it's because of you that we're able to grow and develop and continue to offer good content. If you enjoy seeing things like miniature painting, then we hope you subscribe, because we've got a lot of it. So here I'm doing a second coat of our highlight. Because we use really thin coats, the coverage can take a little bit longer to attain a good, smooth, easy transition. Now, this is where you'll see I'm not going to go all the way to the bottom of this axe, because we want to start putting in gradients of highlight. So this coat here will not cover all of what we just previously painted. You may say it's insane because we just painted it. Why wouldn't we? Because we're using those thin, even coats. The more paint we apply, the more opaque this paint is and covers up what's below. And we don't always want to cover up what's below. We want to have it gradient and gradual. I'm going to be excited to get this axe done so that we can start working on assembly. This arm actually has been a little bit of a challenge, so I don't have this secured to my handle with blue tack, and that's my mistake. I tried to use a white poster tack, and let me tell you, it is not the same. If you happen to run out of blue tack and quickly go to find a substitute, let me tell you from experience, white tack may not be what you want. It's sufficing, it's doing, but if I had my druthers, I would have not bought the white tack and gone somewhere else to see if I could find blue tack. But it's 2020. Lessons learned. So the goal is gradients. The darkest shadows are in the deepest places. And then we continue to do little bits of gradient stepping up. Now you'll see as I do this, it's going to be moving up. Where we want to place the highlight is going to be along this ridge here, kind of a triangular shape is where I envision that highlight falling. Again, based on the direction of the arm of this frost giant. But along this head, we're going to extend those out a little bit. And we're going to do coverage down through here, because this will be the side actually that is the most up towards the sun, or the light, whatever the light source is going to be, which I like to think he's trudging through the tundra on a sunny day. And just watching our layering. I want to cover about 3/4 of what we covered with our previous paint layer. About 3/4. Now this side is away from the sun, so we've got to think about refracted light off of the ground. So generally you're not going to get as much. However, he's going to be trudging through the snow and is going to have a lot more highlights. But we're going to vary them a little bit, and we're going to put the darkest point actually opposite of where the highlight is on the other end. So kind of this triangular area here is going to be darker in tone. And then we'll bring it up to highlights just opposite what we did on the other side. So I don't know if you can see there, what I did was I kind of stippled the edge and made it kind of craggy. Now the reason I did that is, if you think of modern camouflage, right, so think of anybody who is in military and wears their BDUs with the digital print. The print is very broken up of colors. That's kind of the effect that we want to do. And by stippling those edges, it doesn't have a smooth transition line. So it helps fool the eye. If you've watched previous videos, you know that's what we're doing. We're making illusions of gradient changes. And I know it's very subtle there. It is very, very subtle so far. That's good. That's what we want to achieve. Subtle variations. Because when there's subtle variations, they direct the eye without the person being aware of those variations. And for us, that's very important, because we want to be the orchestrator of illusion. And just thin, even coats, stippling that edge a bit to break it up so we don't have one solid line. And lay that paint in there. Let it pull out to the tip. And following along suit on the edges here. Follow that up, because we want these highlights on these bits to match. And you may be wondering why even lay down the first if we're going to cover it. It just helps us keep that gradients going. If we didn't lay down those darks before we laid down the next highlight color, it would not have the impact that we want it to have. Of course, we're trying a new format, doing a couple of shorter videos. We want to make sure that we're providing content that you enjoy at a pace that you can consume. So comment down below. Let us know in the comments. Do you prefer us to do shorter videos with more video releases, or do you prefer longer videos with less video releases? And let us know in the comments. We're really interested to hear your opinions. Of course, if you are not yet a subscriber, please consider subscribing. We have a contest going on where when we get to 25 subscribers, we're going to give away one of our t-shirts, one of our logo shirts. Very comfortable. We've got plenty of sizes, so don't worry about having to have a certain size fit. Once we get to 25 subscribers, all 25 subscribers are going to be entered to win. We're going to draw at random and announce it in this series, as well as all of our other video series that we're producing. We're going to cover the shipping. We're going to reach out to you, see what size you need, find out where to ship it, and get you your shirt. So this one here, you can start to see those variances of color. It's a little too stark in my mind for the naked eye. So we're actually going to go back to our paints, and we are going to prep up for some more paint that we can blend even more, because we want these transitions to be smooth as butter. And that one there, to me, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, I'm sure you can, it's a little too stark. Just a little too stark. So let's try blending these in just a little bit more. Just keeping your recipes together is key. That way, if you have things you're not happy with, you can go back to it. And of course, you know the secret is let it dry before you go back to it. And we had a pretty decent dry on that, so I'm not too worried there. And then back to this one here. And as we go through and do this, we want to cover a little bit less each time. A little bit less. So it's going to look funky at first, and I guarantee you're going to get to a point where you don't like it. You're going to want to stop. You're going to want to start over. You're going to want to strip the paint down. You're going to want to throw it away. Don't. Push through. Persevere. If you're painting along, if you're looking for tips and tricks, if you're frustrated with where your progress is, don't be. Push through. The more you do it, the more you are going to be able to see your progress and see your progression. Persevere through. Push through it. You can do it. It takes time. You're not going to be able to Be a Master Series painter overnight. I know I've felt that way. It's challenging, it's frustrating, but I guarantee if you persevere and push through, you're going to be more rewarded when you reach those different milestones of paint ability. If you're watching the video because you enjoy miniature painting, I'd love to hear from you. Post a picture of one of your minis down below. I would love to give you my feedback on it. And maybe there's an opportunity we can look at doing a mini exchange. If you have a YouTube video channel where you're doing miniature painting, reach out, let me know. I would love to look and see if there's an opportunity for us to collaborate on something together. Maybe we can start popping out some different challenges to viewers, or talk about some new minis that are coming out. I don't know if you're aware of the new Bones 5 from Reaper. Wow, what sculpts, let me say. So Reaper is not a sponsor of mine. So rest assured, when I say that I enjoy them, it's because I truly enjoy not just the company and the products, but the community. If you're part of the Reaper community, sound off below too. Say hello. We've probably chatted on the forums before, maybe even at ReaperCons. And who knows, maybe we have even exchanged minis in the past. It'd be interesting to see. Give me your feedback on it if you happen to be one of the people who have conducted a miniature exchange with. Wow, that contrast there is just bright to my eye. To my eye, that is bright. I'm going to wait on that. I'm going to wait. I'm going to let that dry. I'm going to come over and do this side and see how this feels. There again, don't stop. Don't stop. Keep moving. We can go back and fix things if we need to. We can go back. Nothing is unfixable. Sometimes you just got to give it a minute. Give it a minute. Let it dry. Then go back to it. Look at it with a fresh eye. A fresh set of paint on your finger. And give it an evaluation there. I was talking in a video previously a little bit about the base that I'm already envisioning for this miniature. I'm so excited to be getting closer and closer to the base, because now the base has got me like really fired up. Yeah, see, that didn't blend too bad. A little harsh. So what I'm going to do is just give a little bit more of that gradients in here. And then keep going back with my darker tones. And then do a little wet on wet blending. No, Meg, I'm not licking my brush. And this raw series is very different. I'm interested to know your thoughts on it. Maybe you're someone who's got some time at work to do some YouTube watching, and this is just a nice relaxing thing, maybe inspiring. Let me know if you are watching this video. How did you find it? Did it come up in your suggested for you? Did you do a search for it? Well, I know we've got things like the analytics that we can review and everything. Those are great, but does not take the place of actual live feedback. I love live feedback. So don't hesitate, reach out. Let me know what brought you to this video. Well, that one there to me is a little harsh. We may have to go back and adjust that one. That's okay, we'll get there. We will get there. Grays for me are always a bit of a challenge when it comes to gradients for non-metallic metals. I would say that's probably what I suffer with the most, but that's why I'm interested to do them more, because I want to develop my skills. I want to learn more. I want to get better and better at it. Consider myself a sponge in a lot of ways. I am anxious to suck up more knowledge and experience and skills if possible. And by no means do I consider myself perfect at miniature painting. I have got so much to learn yet. Oh, there we are, coming out of that base again. Hold tight with me as I adjust our tack putty. Try to get that nice and tight. A lot of it's because I moved around so much. All right, so this time what I'm going to do is actually thin down even further one of my previous grays. And the goal is to blend this even smoother. I want these transitions like butter. I want them smooth as can be. The pros about this is if you don't get there, you can always go through and strip it and come back to it. The one thing you can't do is give up. No quitting. This is the Reaper Frost Giant Warrior. If you have painted this, I would love to have you post a picture. I would love to see what you did with this bad boy. if you've thought about painting this one. Give me a comment. Now I know on camera those blends are looking more stark. Trust me, I feel it. I got panic going. I am feeling it. But we're going to keep pushing through. This is our bravery test, as old Bob Ross would say. He is giving us a bravery test. We're going to push through. We're going to oh my gosh, see, today I can't even talk. We're going to persevere through this, and this mini is going to benefit from it. When we put this bad boy on our display shelf or down on the table, it is going to draw awe. It is going to draw awe. Again, just kind of stippling that edge. Those lines are contrasting pretty hard. Don't panic. Don't panic. We're going to persevere. We're going to push through. We're going to keep going. Because after a bit, we're going to go back through. Oh, I did not get that last layer on that ring. Yep, this is what I struggle with the most. This is always the most challenging for me to do. I hope you also find something that's challenging for you to do and just do it. Just do it. That's how we're going to get better. That's why it's raw painting. Sometimes you don't get to see the ugly when you see the, the before and the after photos. You don't get to see the mess ups. You don't get to see what what the people struggled with the most as they were doing their fantastic works of art. A lot of the times that you just don't see at all. And we learn by failure. So if this does not work, I'm not going to mind at all. I'm going to go back after it, probably clean it off, and just go right back after it. And just a couple of thin coats of each. We want it to be just thin coats. We don't want to hide any of that beautiful, gorgeously sculpted detail. See, I'm picking out a couple of different elements there to lay those highlights on. stark. So here is where we are going to start pushing the narrative back on, is that a mess up? So I have got my grays and actually blended into a wash. And I'm going to go through, and I doubt this is even going to show up very well on the camera. But I'm going to go through and do a couple of layers of wash on those gradient pieces. The reason I'm doing that is because that is going to blend those colors more evenly together. Now each color we're going to do that to in smaller and smaller proportions. What that does is smooth out those transition lines. You'll see over time, it'll take a bit because we've got a lot of gradients to cover. But over time, you're going to see a few coats of this wash in the multiple layers go through and blend these together. It's a little thick. That's okay. We just dab the brush and move on. Now you remember our secret. We don't go all the way. And we pull towards us so that we have heaviest paint towards those gradients. There's a little nick there I want to make sure that we avoid so it stays nice and dark. Now these little bits here don't need as much just because they're not as, I guess, blunt to see those gradients. Because we did a wash, it's pretty thin. It's going to dry fairly fast. That's good. We want it to dry fast because we don't paint over wet paint. We don't do it. You may be tempted a time or two, but we don't do it. See how much more even those are coming? Blending beautifully. Blending beautifully. By using those same colors in a wash, we're able to transition from those darker areas to the light and smooth out those transitions. Oh, boy, that tack, that threw me for a little bit. Use those layers as a wash. It's the same layers we used. So no difference in the layers. This side's getting a bit more because remember, this is the side facing our light source. Oh my gracious. Luckily I sealed this prior to painting, so I'm not as worried about the paint rubbing off if I hold it for a little bit. It's a little wet, so it still has some sheen to it, but I hope you can see that gradients. Nice and subtle. Get our tack going here a little bit. Now, if I were doing a display piece, I would edge this with white just to make those edges really stand out and pop, and then probably put a white, focal point in here. I'm not going to do that just because it's too much, but what I am going to do is a really, really light gray. I'm going to just blend that lightest gray with a white till we get a super light gray. I'm just going to put a light spot right there. That's where the light is hitting this bad boy. And just like that, we've got the axe done. Well, the haft anyhow, or the head. We have not completed the haft. We've got to go through and do that. Let's try that for next time because we're trying shorter videos. Don't hesitate to send your comments. Give us a like, follow, and if you like the content, if you like raw painting and following along as we start to finish this Reaper Frost Giant, and then who knows what we're going to do next, please subscribe, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks for watching our video. We hope that you enjoyed it, and we'd love to have you subscribe. Feel free to hit that button if you care to get notifications for when we post new content. Leave your comments below and help us answer the question of where will your adventures take you. Enjoy.